boy raised his rifle and pointed it at the German plane in the sky. The plane instantly sprayed bullets that flew like lightning. The boy closes his eyes in fear and pulls the trigger. When he opens his eyes, he is surprised to see the plane pass overhead in a cloud of smoke. The plane has fallen into the forest in the distance. The boy stands up in disbelief. Grandpa rushes over and slaps him, grabs the rifle, and accuses the boy of shooting. Then, the barrel in which the vodka was transported, which Grandpa had found, was pierced by a bullet. He taps the hole and looks worriedly at Filippov. Filippov calmly picks up the rifle. He pulls the breech, removes the bullet, pushes it into the hole, and finally plugs it with the butt of his rifle. He then congratulates the boy on his bravery, but warns him to be careful. But the boy doesn't care. The convoy left barely 2 weeks ago when it was attacked again. Filippov immediately waved his hand and ordered everyone to go on alert. Everyone got out of the car and hid behind the wagon. Only the boy remained in the car and confidently raised his rifle to fire again. But the enemy shoots him in the throat first. The boy had fallen out of the car and his neck was in pain. Filippov fired at the sound of the shots, hitting one of the enemy, while the other escaped. Filippov glanced at the boy in the gutter and decided to save his companion first, but the boy dies soon after, having lost too much blood. The men carry the boy to the wagon and find a cemetery where he is buried. After saying their goodbyes, they leave the cemetery to continue their journey. But soon after, the old man's wheel breaks down and he loses contact with the group. Suddenly, 3 German vehicles attack, and the women scramble for their rifles. But the Germans are already there, grabbing the woman's rifle and ordering her out of the car. They then found the vodka in the car and escorted it back to the camp. Filippov realized that the old man had disappeared and ordered the women to stay where they were. Alone, he returned alone and found the old man's rifle. He then followed the roar of the motorcycles and soon found the Germans. He shoots 3 of them with the butt of his rifle, kills 1 with his flying dagger, and finally shoots 2 more with his German MT-42. But he is soon spotted by the Germans and quickly changes position. The Germans were still in a state of confusion. Filippov took his rifle and went around the Germans' rear and threw a small stone. The Germans stupidly turned back. He thus single-handedly defeated 8 Germans and managed to retrieve the vodka. So, why did the Soviets send vodka to the front at the cost of their lives? The man suddenly raised his machine gun and fired at the vodka on the wagons. The vodka barrels were immediately punctured. Then he threw a grenade at the vodka, burning the Germans. The surviving Germans can only raise their hands and surrender and plead for their lives. Filippov calmly fired his gun and avenged a truckload of vodka. Otherwise, he couldn't face Stalin. In 1941, Stalin ordered the distribution of daily rations of vodka to soldiers at the front. They drank vodka while standing at the front with a ferocity that seemed to crush the enemy. Filippov was assigned to deliver vodka to the 118th Division. The officers assigns him an old man as guide, a boy as worker, and 4 soldiers as escort. They are about to leave, but haven't arrived yet. Filippov bursts into the house, cursing, and finds the women in makeup. Filippov is helpless. How can such soldiers fulfill their mission? He washes his face with cold water to calm down. Then he angrily approaches the officers and demands that the female soldiers be replaced by men. The officers replied that there were only 4 women left in the camp and that he could either take them with him or complete the mission himself. Filippov had no choice but to let the women board the bus. However, at the entrance to the camp, he saw soldiers shooting at vodka-drinking soldiers. Filippov immediately understands the reason for the women soldiers' presence. They must not drink vodka. But shortly after their departure, the wheels break down. The old man suggests going to the forestry department to have the wheel replaced. He opens the door to his office and finds corpses on the floor. Before he has time to react, he is attacked by a thug with a knife in his mouth. Seeing that the old man hasn't been out for a long time, the officers takes the female soldiers out to look for him. The thugs were about to shoot, but the officers pushed the female soldier out and escaped himself. The female soldier was knocked out by the crowd. Filippov killed one of the thugs with a single shot and forced the other out of the house. The officer sees this and flees. The female soldier raises her gun and aims at the thugs, but realizes she forgot to pull the trigger and throws the grenade in a panic. Filippov was so frightened that he fell, but the grenade didn't pull the trigger. The thugs get up and run away, but Filippov shoots at them. They bury the old man and carry on mourning. Suddenly, snowflakes begin to fall from the sky, and the journey is sure to be full of twists and turns. Unfortunately, a large number of Germans suddenly appear as they are about to reach the 118th Division. The Germans step on a branch and the woman screams, attracting the attention of the Germans. The boyfriend shoots the Germans in front of him and covers his girlfriend's escape, but she turns around and sees another botch. She kills him with the first shot, killing for the first time in her life. She panics, but before she can react, she's shot several times and falls. Her boyfriend screams and jumps on her, protecting her, but they are now surrounded by Germans. Soon, the boyfriend is also shot by the Germans, and she embraces her girlfriend with her last breath. The next moment, the Germans are throwing grenades. Filippov quickly counterattacks, fighting with the Germans in a guerrilla war. One after the other, the Germans charge in, cutting down one group after another. The Soviets are at their wits' end. Filippov decides to pose as a decoy to cover up the women's escape, but the woman can't bear the thought of Filippov's sacrifice, so she stays behind and fights together. Covering Filippov, she helps Filippov shoot down the German machine gunner, but the next moment, a grenade flies under Filippov's feet and takes him away. Thinking that Filippov had been killed, the female soldier rushed towards him, but was unfortunately killed by the Germans. In fact, Filippov was only slightly wounded. He picked up his submachine gun and fired at the Germans. The bullet breaks the barrel and sprays vodka everywhere. He immediately pulls out a grenade and throws it. The vodka explodes and burns a large number of Germans who, seeing that the situation is over, try to flee. The veteran sets up his machine gun and shoots relentlessly. The Germans fall. At the same time, the fleeing officer is caught by the Germans and shot. He raises his gun again and aims at the girl soldier, but the officer kills the German with his last breath. The officer, who had been a coward all his life, finally hardened before his death. The woman pursues the fleeing Boche, hits them with all her bullets, and finally kills the remaining Boche. The Soviet team has won the war. After burying their 14 teammates, they say a tearful goodbye and continue their mission. The division soon reaches the 118th and delivers the vodka without incident. Vodka is delivered to the front line and soldiers are assured of a daily drink. They had won the war, but it cost 6 men their lives. Although they were not frontline combatants, they nevertheless made a great contribution to the country as a logistical unit. They are also worthy of respect.